and obviously we talk about third parties a lot here in the channel. We talk about the movement for a People's Party a lot and the Green Party and all that stuff. But something we don't really talk about a lot is the possibility or idea of like a right-wing third party, a conservative third party. And of course, that sounds insane because the Republican Party has become so extreme, so insane, so
very libertarian.
Yeah, economically, at least, for sure. But now that Donald Trump is leaving office and has basically been abandoned by polite society, by corporate America, and by his fellow Republicans, including Mike Pence and Mitch McConnell, apparently he's floating this idea of starting a new third party, the Patriot Party. Here's some reporting on it from Business Insider. Did you hear about this or read any of these pieces, Zach?
Yeah, I heard the rumblings about it, but I didn't know how seriously to take it, right? Because I guess the thing is that the only reason I don't know how seriously to take it is I just don't know what Trump's level of follow through is going to be with literally anything after the election. But whatever he does lend his credence, what he lends his name, and sort of a fan base like power to, I think it's going to be massively impactful on the Republican Party. Because I just think that the fracturing that's going on there is the kind of we kind of say this all the time, right? In a sense, like the Republicans, they go to war with each other, like in the way that like the left, like they're interested in gaining power, right? Instead, the left needs to kind of start, ousting the Nancy Pelosi's and and standing against them as firmly as the Josh Hawleys and the Donald Trumps are standing against like the Mitch McConnell, like neoconservative kind of guys, at least in rhetoric, right? Obviously in practice, what Donald Trump did was basically whatever the fucking crony neocons wanted.
Right.
But so, I mean, it's not like either side is, strategically maneuvering this in like a super effective way. But just, it's the overall idea is that they will actually say, no, fuck you. We're going to withhold our power, sort of like, Tea Party, Freedom Caucus style, but with Trumpism. And I think that the real threat there for Republicans who are in office is the fact that it's way more popular than their stale brand of conservatism.
Yeah, it is super funny that, as it's been pointed out before, Donald Trump really did just govern as a Republican. So it's kind of funny that he's now, this is really just all based on ego and image, this whole Patriot Party Trumpism thing. It's not really based on any actual governing philosophy, at least not
any of Trump anyway, right?
At least not that he embodied while president. Maybe, of course, someone else like a Josh Hawley that's more competent as a legislator and as someone that understands how our government works could actually get things done. So, obviously I'm not trying to downplay the, neo-fascist tendencies of the Trump administration, not at all. And also I thought it was funny here at the end of this Business Insider article, we were just talking about George Wallace on our show and discussing the parallels between him and Donald Trump. And they actually bring up here that he won 5 states while running as the nominee of the American Independent Party, which was a third party too. So that would even further the similarities between Trump and Wallace, obviously another historical racist, faux populist type right-wing figure in American politics. So definitely some interesting context there. And again, a lot of people are saying that this might be his way of exacting revenge, on the Republicans. Even obviously, if this weren't to ever successfully become an ascendant, political force, it could still severely disrupt the Republican Party because obviously Trump still has enough of his base on lock, probably 35% of the Republican Party. Maybe that's waning, who knows? But at least that amount that he can always, kind of direct away from the more establishment types. He can direct them towards.
I think he has probably half the Republican Party.
Yeah,
if we're
that's
just
true.
Looking at the Republican Party, I think it's more than half.
Yeah, I guess I meant 30% of the country at least.
Yeah,
you're right though. Over half of the Republican Party, and again, in a race like Marco Rubio's coming up for re-election in 2022 in Florida, if he throws his weight behind Ivanka's candidacy and is out there doing the rallies for her and being the keynote speaker at all of her events and all that stuff, there's absolutely no reason that the Republicans are just going to swear off or abandon Trump. And it would be really interesting to see if Ivanka does run against Rubio, will she run as a Patriot Party candidate, or will she just, take the path of least resistance and run as a as a Republican? And obviously that's a conversation we have all the time on this show, just from the other side of the aisle. Is it worth the risk running as a third party when Democrat might be easier to gain power? Obviously, we talked about that in the context of Nina Turner and Cristiano Oliva's race. It'll be interesting to see what strategy these, far right, Trumpists really take to as they continue their.
One thing that one of the things that I really like about the show Rising is that it gives good insight into kind of like the conservative politic dynamic in a way that, like somebody like me who doesn't have a, any kind of conservative media diet. Maybe I should develop one, but I just don't have any interest in it. It does kind of give you some insight into the inner workings of how like a Republican would think, right? When you get to listen to Sagar provide his insight, and he was talking about this race between a potential race, right? Like it hasn't even been announced, but if Marco Rubio is challenged by Ivanka, then I think that sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here, but but if Ivanka challenges Marco Rubio, really, that's the only person that she had a lot of alliance with when she was in the White House. Actually, her child like tax credit thing that she pushed through. She partnered with Marco Rubio. And also, it would be really easy for Marco Rubio to come after her because she really did have a lot of Democratic leanings herself when she, before her father ran for president. So it would be a tougher race for her there, I think, than maybe a lot of other places if she went to like a more Trumpist stronghold than Florida, right? I mean, people thought that Joe Biden had a pretty good chance of winning Florida. I don't think it's his strongest state.
I'm definitely optimistic about Ivanka's chances if she were to challenge Rubio for that Senate seat. And I'll be interested to see that, battle take place, because I really think that will be one of the first, major battles to take place in the Republican Civil War, if it is to happen.
Also, Don Jr.'s wife might get into politics, is speculated, right?
Yeah, I think Don Jr.'s wife, Kimberly Guilfoyle, who we talked about also recently, is definitely ambitious. I think Eric and his wife are both, all of the Trumps and all of the related people, I think, are all going to try to continue this political empire. Thanks for your insight, Josh K. You're saying that Rubio is insanely popular in Florida. So
I think that it's his speedboats and fucking blatant abuse of campaign finance aside, people in Florida don't give a fuck about that, or so it seems, and I mean, why would they write this? Like you said, it kind of, that one of Trump's biggest appeals there is, the do it big, like, rich thing, right? At least from what I'm gathering, that's probably a generalization, as everything that involves like broad scale political analysis would be the people. But I don't know. I think you're right, though, that's definitely one of the first races that would be a telltale sign. I just think that as if I'm a Trump person and I'm thinking about how do we strategize to make us look the best, that seems like a harder race to me, but I'm not a fucking Republican. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I did just want to go back really briefly, if anyone's watching, to see what's going on at this inauguration.
Also, thanks, David for that super sticker. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much, David.